welcome, guys, back to the Alpha Coach podcast that really brings you the stories behind the hustle, the muscle, and all of these incredible coaches I've been interviewing. Today, we're talking sweat, stage lights, and success. And I'm thrilled to have not one, but two powerhouse fitness coaches joining me today. Arun, whom I've known a very long time, and his lovely wife, Supriya. These two have not only rocked the stage as fitness competitors, but have also transformed many, many lives as top fitness coaches, both online and in person, right? And did I even mention that they work with some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry? Now, the Telugu movie stars may sort of light up the screen, but these two definitely light up the gym, right? They're now based in Hyderabad. They've been in Bangalore before that and bring about, 25 years of combined fitness experience amongst them and a strong shared passion for transforming lives. If I were to talk just about Arun, he's a former corporate professional. He made a very big decision in 2013 to follow his passion for fitness. Starting off as like a executive at New Life, he then transitioned into full-time coaching and developed what he calls a signature approach, which is to adapt, transform, and sustain. Right? He's known for his impeccable sales pitch. That's something that he's super proud of. And his never settle for less mindset. Arun definitely inspires his clients to definitely push their limits, just like he does for himself. And Supriya, on the other hand, brings her own remarkable journey to the table. After 15 years in a high-pressure corporate career, she embarked on a personal mission to take care of her own health and redefine what's possible. And with a focus on the mind-body connection, her coaching philosophy centers on the belief that the mind matters and the body is just a vessel. She says that she's a forever learner, and Supriya constantly refines her craft to keep helping her clients thrive more and more. Now, their story together began somewhere in 2015. I'll let them tell you the story, but that's when Supriya asked Arun's help for a diet plan, and the rest, as they say, is history. But the good part is now, 9 years later, they built a thriving business in fitness coaching, and they work with everyone, including everyday fitness enthusiasts, to celebrity clients, while continuing to inspire each other as well. Now, Supriya really admires Arun's resilience and the ability to see good in everyone, while Arun really respects Supriya's independence and really having that taskmaster mindset. Quite an intro, right? That is amazing. Cool. So let's dive into your journey, guys. We'd love to know your insights, and of course, we'll do some banter along the way. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ketan. That was a beautifully written introduction for individually whatever you have captured.
Thank you.
All this. Yes.
Great.
Thank you.
So let's start at the beginning, guys. How did the two of you actually get into fitness, right? Who was the fitness fanatic first?
No, he's always had the movers first advantage for sure because he has many more fitness years behind him. He started very, very early. I started like full-fledged. I've always been an active person, but full-fledged into going to the gym and being regimented happened only when I turned 30, to be honest. Before that, it was more, just a casual trek here, outdoorsy activities, cycling and stuff like that. Nothing too regimented and routine like. So yeah, surely him. But yeah, he started way earlier in his childhood.
So Arun, were you into like your own fitness before 2013 as well, or did you like literally get all into it only after that?
No, my journey started when I was like 14 years old. So very interestingly, if I go back a little further in time, what happened is my dad moved around a lot. He was like 2 years in one city and then another 3 years in another city. Somewhere in between, when I was in second and third grade, I was also in a boarding school because the scene at home was really bad. And that was a year where my mom was diagnosed with a pretty serious mental health condition, and we lost 3 family members. So all that moving around, so you are sort of influenced socially, in terms of what your friends are indulging in terms of activities. Of course, you have some friends who play football, some friends who play, cricket, any other recreational sport, whatever it is that everyone's into. So what happened is that of course, as being a kid who obviously loves having friends and, being active, I was kind of doing everything. But then I wasn't really particularly good at anything. And that sort of started creating a small hurdle for me that as I got older, if my friends in particular were more serious into any particular sport, maybe somebody was more deep into cricket, somebody was more deep into basketball, I didn't have the skill set and for that matter, I would say I didn't even have the interest to sort of dive into it too much, So for me, if friends are like, hey, we're going to go and play in cricket and, I'm a very average batsman or whatever. And after a point, I would just lose interest. So this kind of went on for some time. And then when I was in like eighth grade, that was my last final year that I stayed in Calcutta, after which dad moved to Chennai. And there was this interim period where I had to stay with my aunt and dad and my mom shifted to Chennai because dad had to join work. So I had a few months left, but I mean, no offense to my aunt, but it was a very toxic environment because for me, I mean, she was trying to help me out, but I was just a rebellious kid who loved the freedom that he had at home. I had my way, and then suddenly I have to live in a house where, I have to kind of go by what she's saying, whatever. So I had a lot of anger built up. And this is when sort of, dad anyway had kind of given me that push that, start doing some sort of exercising, at least like, do push-ups, pull-ups, whatever. तो वो घर पे थोड़ा थोड़ा हो रहा था, but then I realized that I need to kind of divert my mind towards something. So every day in the morning after I would get up and, I would, do my homework or whatever that my aunt would make me do. And this is when I hated waking up at 5 o'clock. Today, it's not much of a thought, but back then, my aunt was like, "Nahin, utho and maths
Did as
karo, ye
children,
karo."
right?
Exactly. So I had this half an hour slot where I kind of realized I can go to the balcony that in my aunt's place and just do something. And I would do like 100 squats, like 50 crunches, 20, 30 pull-ups, push-ups, whatever. So I just did these 4 or 5 exercises and I felt really good. Now, of course, this is when social media doesn't exist or anything, right? So I'm not doing it for likes. I'm not doing it to get any admiration or anything. This was pure negative energy that I'm just, diverting towards something that just made me feel good. And I would say for the longest time, that has been my driving factor. Today, of course, that thought has finally matured into something else, but we'll probably come to that later. So yeah, for me, that's where it kind of kicked off. I realized that I don't have any particular skill set in any sport, but I love being strong and I love doing things with my body. And I kind of just took that up. And yeah, when I came to Chennai after that, I realized that there is an athletic side to me. So I went up to state level in javelin. I went up to state level in 400 meters and 800 meters running. So all these capabilities, suddenly started shining. And I would say, just to slightly digress, I was very fortunate that the circle of friends and all I had, they kind of pushed me to use my talents or whatever skills I had to come up. That's something that, my friends in Chennai sort of instilled in me that agar kuch talent hai to kuch karna. And that has become like a mantra for me that if someone believes that I am capable of something, whether I believe or not, I'll still give it a shot. That's something I keep telling her that, don't doubt yourself so much because what's the worst that can happen? I mean, you won't be any good at it. That's fine. At least there's no shame. You tried. Now you know that you're not good at it. But what if you are? What if you try it and you're really good at it and then something amazing happens? You find the hidden talent that you didn't know existed. And yeah, so for me, that's sort of where it started off. And then eventually that progressed into me joining the school powerlifting team, which even from, when I joined college, I continued powerlifting. So strength training became a big part of what I was doing. And then, of course, after a point, I realized that, lifting is not something that attracts me. I also want to build the aesthetics. So eventually started getting into bodybuilding and all that. And yeah, rest is history.
Arun Supriya, I mean, you got a fitness trainer at school, but stage competition, I mean, straight up, they're not
Yeah.
joke. I currently have a goal where I'm working with a coach who I know really well. And I want to get into ICN level, like 8% body fat level. So I've just started. So I was bulking for a long time, maintained, kicked up calories, cutting it down. Slow and steady has begun, right? But I mean, I've been working on it for over a year, and now my shed is literally begun now. But actually doing this up on stage is a whole new commitment, right? I mean, so what got you into like that and saying, let me just like, how do you get into stage? Like, competitions?
So I had, after my that 15-year long corporate career thing, I had quit and I was essentially studying, relearning so many things, right? There was this new realm which I hadn't even tapped into because my world was just very skewed to whatever the corporate world entailed. And part of a lot of the things that I was interested in, I got certified and deep dived in the knowledge aspect. So seeing that really excited Arun in a way because at least for once I was giving myself that plethora of choices. Also, he kept mentioning all that time that I have a lot of potential, be it in the industry or varied things that I haven't ever explored, right? For the first time, I was actually exploring. It was quite exciting. And when he eventually mentioned about participating in a bodybuilding competition, to be honest, the first thought was, I can't. I can't. Oh my
Can you
God.
imagine?
I can't do that. It's good that you see potential, but I can't. So I just said no straight up, to be honest. And, obviously that didn't go down too well with him because he's like, I always keep telling you, but now that you're exploring so many aspects of you, why not this as well? So I gave it a thought. To be honest, that entire week was a lot of turmoil in my head because I was like, whoa, this is a stupendous task to it's like an uphill climb. So to wrap my head around the thought itself took me a while. And when I eventually did, what I realized was it was more about me and very little about the people around. If I could, deep dive and decide why do I want it or why do I not want it? And those are the questions, honestly, that I asked myself. And eventually, when I arrived at an answer, I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I'm super focused. So after which it was a very enjoyable journey for that matter. Another thing I told myself was I had heard so much about this journey from not only from Arun, but so many other people that he coaches and their point of view or their perspective of this so-called journey to prep, the journey leading up to the stage. So I was like, why not experience it for myself? And I think that was my first chance with myself or my first leap of faith, if you can call it. Because up until then, it was mini leaps that I had taken. I think as large as this, it did take some mindset reset, I like to call it.
Also, literally, which you mentioned was
Yes.
that it's
Yes.
all in the mind. That's what matters.
Yes. Yes.
It's really as in like another really good saying that I sort of live by is we suffer far more in imagination than reality. It's said by Seneca,
Yes. Yeah.
Greek philosopher.
Yeah.
And literally that most people, they just make the problem so big in their mind that they never get started. They're just like, you know what, damn, I can't
Yeah.
think about, okay, if it's going to take 6 months and 6 months are going to pass anyway, and you're anyway going to be struggling in the gym without it.
Right.
Like you did this for so many years. You said it yourself, right? You were doing something. You were either cycling, you were training, you were doing
Correct.
for years on end, never saw results. You will put in that hard work,
Yeah.
no focus, no discipline, no structure, no process. And you might as well just add it and just get the result,
Right.
right? And that's what I think you did for your stage and
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
it's going to be tougher than what I would normally do in the gym. But I know that there's a process, and why not just go all the way? And I think one more good thing is you walk the talk to such a point where now you can take your clients there anytime you want, literally, right? Super. Now, this is all about your personal, your journeys. But now, coming to your business, how do you actually run such a complex business, right? Both of you are fitness coaches. Both of you have different kind of clients. Both of you do online, offline. Some of them are celebrities. Like, how do you keep it all together? Like, how do you make sense of it? Do you even find time to meet other than maybe just for lunch or whatever? Or how do you guys manage it?
I think the first thing that I have made sure is that everything is kind of centered around me. I take up the brunt of most of the thinking with respect to the clients. The way the business works is that everybody comes through me primarily. And I mean, even if there is that one-off reference that a coach brings in, they are very clear that, look, Arun is going to be the one doing the programming. So, he's the one who you kind of answer to. He's the one we answer to. So that uncomplicates the process because all everybody has to do is follow protocol. There is no, pointing, there's no blame game, nothing. we mess up somewhere, it's my fault. And if we achieve a good amount of success, then of course it's a combined success. But by doing that, I take the thinking aspect away from the client, from the coaches, and of course they have a brain as well. They give me an input saying, I think diet wise, this client would, adhere better if we did this or that. Those inputs are obviously welcome because I'm not the one spending the time with the client every single day. But then, of course, over and above that, I also hold these guys accountable, as we were talking about, in terms of where are the results, where are the check-ins, why are we not making the progress that I expect, and kind of, addressing things as and when required. So I basically play bad cop most of the time. And that, that also elevates the position that my trainers have with respect to the clients, because then if the clients have a grievance against me, they can go and cry to the trainer. I'm trying to be friends with anybody or do any major CSR activity where I'm trying to build a relationship. The core focus that we have as a team is we get clients through results. We don't get clients by being nice. And, that's been a big change for me from the time I left Bangalore to coming here. And, that's how we function now, because I now, other than the lifestyle clients that I have clients who are very performance driven, whether that's performance in front of a screen, whether that's performance in their business. Some of them are athletes as well, and even there are some of them who are entrepreneurs and all of that, some startup guys. So I work with individuals like that who think a certain way. So it's important for me to also sort of change the narrative in terms of how we approach it. So yes, it is adapt, transform, and sustain. But those first two is where most people struggle. So yeah, it's a good balance. Like Supriya and I, we draw a good balance between her being the empathetic one, her being the one who is ready to lend a ear to hear the grievances and the complaints that the client has. But then it's me coming back and saying, yeah, that's all fine. We make all the adjustments you need as per your comfort, discomfort. But then having said that, what are we doing here if we're not getting the results that we're aiming for? So holding everybody accountable towards the process and everything is where I come in. So I think that keeps the process pretty simple. Also, I also do the collections when it comes to finances. So that way they also don't have to have the awkward conversation when it's time to collect fees from the clients or something like that. I would say the clients we attract now, vast majority of them have a pretty good idea of what we do and how we do it. So we don't have to explain ourselves much. They just come on board. We tell them how we work, what our commercials are, what our terms and conditions are, and we just get them started. After that, if they get results, they stay. If they don't get results, we also keep ourselves in a position where if we are not seeing what we are expecting from the client, we'll just tell them to, go and find work with someone else, because if it's not working with us, then we don't want to waste their time and our time.
So in your terms, so two, three things, right? One, of course, it's all about the results for sure. Like people, uh, fitness coaches, and I've now spoken because we've launched some education programs, these guys, right? And I've spoken like 300 plus coaches, 400 coaches plus. And these people are, a lot of the things that people tend to sell as their service or, market their service is really a process that they give. Okay, you know what? Coming to train with me, and okay, what do I get? Okay, I will get a meal plan. I'll give you 12 sessions. Sir, I'll be in touch with you. I'll give you everything. But you got like 15 coaches, and you sustainably being able to get clients, retain them, and also scale this entire business up. What is your secret to marketing or getting clients, if I may ask?
Coincidentally, I was thinking about that today because I kind of had a hunch that you may ask me that. And I think, I think the most awkward thing I tell my clients is just in case, as a case, today there's a friend of mine called Tabu who is so I have a chef in my team as well who does custom meals, and his wife has had chikungunya. Next step is he's going to give me a diet plan. So this is where I think the change that I have made is, the question I ask is, how did you come to this? How did you allow your environment and your situation bring you to this? Because if that doesn't change, whatever I'm going to give is prescriptive. Case in point, you keep falling sick, right? You go to the doctor, you take medicines, you recover, then again you fall sick. Now, at some point, you're going to be like, hey, why the hell am I falling sick again and again? Is it my immunity that's compromised? Is there some sort of a pathogen that's, in the air in my house? But you need to know, right? Because you have all these different, questions that are coming to your mind. And if you don't diagnose the root of the problem at the source, then you are going to be in this repetitive cycle of whether it's gaining weight, losing weight, or whether it's going back to training and stopping training. So for me, building habits and addressing it at the core is where the secret really lies. And it's not the best way to do this business because a lot of people don't want that. Many of my clients who have worked with my initial years, I mean, not that I also had the learning to ask them these questions, but what I realized is that now I have started asking these questions. My hit rates from initial inquiries have dropped. But very interestingly, what happens is the clients who do that introspection, and believe me, some of them have even come back to me after as long as 2 years. I had a conversation with them 2 years ago and I said something on the call which really irked them. But then I put them in a deep state of introspection after that. And, it's not that I keep in touch, but then they suddenly called me back 2 years later saying, "ऐसे ऐसे बोला था, मैं बड़ा सोच में पड़ा." And then I thought about it, but now I know what I have to do. Because acknowledging that you are doing something wrong is the biggest problem or the biggest issue that people have. They think नहीं कुछ अलग गलत हो रहा है, चावल में गलती है, मेरे ट्रेनर में गलती है, मेरे हवा में गलती है, मैं दिल्ली में रहती हूँ, दिल्ली में पोल्यूशन ज्यादा है इसलिए मैं मोटा हो गया. Something or the other they will blame, right? But they are not going to say मैं गलत हूँ, मुझ में कुछ गलती हो रही. Nobody wants to acknowledge that. So it's all about just passing the baton to somebody or the other and passing the blame and not taking that acknowledgement. And I find it very amusing. So for me, I mean, maybe I'm a little statistic as well, but I love seeing the reaction that people have when I ask them this question, because 99% of the time, they don't expect that a coach is going to ask that. But the funny thing is, if you really delve into coaching, if you really look into the deeper aspects of coaching, that is what we as coaches are, taught to do. That we want to know what the source of the problem is. And what I have also now started doing is, instead of just blindly giving a person a diet or whatever, it's more about understanding what they are currently doing in terms of their lifestyle, their dietary habits. Because I'm very open. I'm not going to lecture somebody if they say, I'm doing intermittent fasting. ठीक है भाई, तुझे intermittent fasting करना है, मैं उसी में structure करके तुझे दे दूंगा. There is nothing wrong doing intermittent fasting. Do I do it? No. Do I think it's the best way to diet? No. But if that's something you are comfortable doing, exactly. But if that's something you are comfortable doing, then go for it. All I care about is how many calories you're getting, how much of your macros are you getting, are you recovering, are you, cognitively sharp, are you in a good mood, are your biomarkers healthy? Those are the things that I really care for. I'm not here to sell a propaganda or some trend, right? So I think that makes the process easier for a lot of clients, and that's where we kind of win over many clients when we tell them कि ठीक है, अगर आपको पराठे और बटर चिकन ही पसंद है तो मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि पराठे और बटर चिकन देके आपको weight lose. Trying to keep the client in their comfort zone and reverse engineering things that they are doing into transitioning them into this process. Because think about it, you can't just wake up one day and be like, okay, today onwards I have to eat salads and stir fries and some bowl of fruits and all that.
Right, you can't.
Right.
It's the work. It's like being prison suddenly, right? No, I
it's not that
very very interesting takes here, right? Like most coaches are, if you talk to them, they already have something to sell. They already have a solution ready without even asking what your problem is. But like for an example, so what you're doing is you're trying to understand the current problem, the current source of pain, how they got that pain, literally like a doctor would say, "Acha पेट दुख रहा है, what did you eat yesterday?" Literally that, right?
right. Diagnostic issue.
And imagine if he were to, he or she as a doctor would be just able to just prescribe something without asking you where is the pain and what happened. That would not be a doctor. That would be, as they call it, drug dealer. And would probably be held from practice because he's probably just treating of something completely unrelated, right? And yet, this is so often overlooked in the fitness industry where people are just like, they think that it's the standard cookie cutter. Yes, I will obviously customize my training to you. I will customize meal plan, but that's all they have to offer without actually understanding deeper as to why the person even come to the gym. They're not really there as I tell a lot of coaches, people are not there for your diet plan, or people are not there for your exercise plan. In fact, tomorrow, if Arun, you were to tell me, you know what, take this pill for 4 months and you lose 15 kgs and get down to 8% body fat, I would gladly take it, right? I mean, me as in a human, he would normally take it. But if you say,
Yeah.
yeah, you know what, you need to train 6, 7 days a week, you need to eat clean, you need to report in, you need to do this, you need to eat 15,000 steps every day, you need to do all of that, sleep well also. I mean, obviously, I'm going to choose option one because I dislike that process, right? But what people actually sell is the process, as opposed to like what you said, you're trying to understand the core problem and promising a result at the end of the day, which is why so many of your clients are retaining and also growing. Perfect, perfect.
Right.
Cool. And what do you, Supriya? So I want to ask you, now that you've gone up on stage and you've done a few years now of coaching yourself, do you have any specific kind of a niche or a specific kind of client that you train, or do you just train anybody and everybody who would want to train?
Anybody and everybody would be something that I try to target. Having said that, given my own lived experience as a woman and all the kind of nuances that I've gone through in my own health and fitness journey, it makes it a lot easier for me to be very easily relate to the women folks, and a lot of non-verbal cues are where I get a lot of my own answers to their problems.
Right, data gap.
Right. So yeah, because specific to the women lot, a lot of the things are very unsaid, to be honest, right? A lot of the things we don't even sometimes realize, let alone voice out, right? And it takes a little while to sort of unpeel those layers, I think, where it's normalized that it's okay. Like, you can't, in fact, always be that superwoman who is, doing a fantastic job of handling everything, family, work, life, expectations from in-laws and everything, with like 100% markings on every parameter, right? I would say that personally, it is a lot easier for me to relate very easily with women folks. Having said that, again, the surface level problems like, oh, I'm just giving into my cravings, or I'm yo-yoing and all of that, those problems are very, very surface level. And that is not the actual problem, like what Arun said. Sometimes with the women folks, even though that's not specifically my target audience, but with the women folks, I think I have noticed a lot of the unsaid things becomes very easier for me to pick up as nuances that I look for. And, that helps me solve their problems a lot easier. So, yeah, women would be a larger target audience as far as I'm concerned.
And within women, would you say that you create people at a certain age group with certain kind of problems, with certain sort of goals, with certain sort of mindsets? Are they working? Do you have any such focused areas, or this thing that you work with, or is it women?
There's no age demographics per se as of now. However, at the core of it, the mindset aspect always is part of any, any discussion, or be it even the rest period during a training set. And that is anyway there. That is like an undertone to how I approach coaching anyway. Having said that, there is no specified age demographics, to be honest. At the broad level, they all mostly come with, let's say, an end goal. And eventually we, as a team, try to break it down and see how best we can help them solve that. The broad, pillars, kept in mind, be it the food aspect, sleep aspect, the hydration, the recovery, and all of that considered, eventually it always, there are one too many conversations that will always lead to, what, there is something more, right? And that is the flavor of any kind of, I would say, coaching a man or a woman for that matter, right? It's essentially problem based and how best we can solve it. Yeah.
No, if I may just add to that, because I'm the one who sort of decides who coaches who when an inquiry comes in. So I'm always trying to match the dynamics of the client with the person that I believe because it's not just a matter of who is available. So when I got her into coaching, it was simply because I just couldn't handle any more inquiries. And I felt that she's done all this education, learning, like she anyway doesn't have to be super technical when it comes to the training or the nutrition because I'll take care of it. But I know if I give her a workout routine, she can execute it. She knows the difference between bad form and good form. She understands what is range of motion. She understands what is tempo. So if I tell her कि ये workout routine hai, she'll make sure that the client does it well. In fact, here and there, some of my clients who I train when they've trained with her, they say that at least with you, we have a few liberties. With Supriya, it's like she's so on the dot. If I do a set that's not as per her, she'll make me repeat the set. So she expects that level of perfection in every single set. So I would say that to answer your question with respect to the kind of women that she trains, and not that she's not open to training men, but I don't know, maybe men are a little intimidated by her. But at the same time, when it comes to women themselves, the women I look for are very high achieving women because thing is, she's done a lot of inner work to be who she is. Going from a person who is just following the herd in the corporate this thing to, being this person that she is today, being, very much self-employed, going through variable income every month, talking to me more from a business perspective than just thinking of it as a job. So she has all these, inner works that she's put in place, her mindset, the way she approaches life. So for me, it's very important that the client and the coach feed off of each other. And if I see that somewhere there is a clash in terms of the way the client thinks or the way the trainer thinks, then I'll immediately, feel like, "Nahi, yahan pe to sahi match nahi hua." I've gone through my share of experience where I've tried just taking a client and whoever is available, they do, and then see how it goes. And then I've seen a lot of issues crop up. So now I go a little deeper where I'm like, if this is the client and if this is the reading I have of them, what kind of a trainer would work well for them? Another thing is I don't want her taking too many clients because she gets very involved with the client, which can be psychologically very draining. So many times she tells me like, I don't know how you train so many people in a day because like 2, 3 clients and like I'm done. Jaise aur nahi hota hai, right? So again, I have learned how to preserve myself and the energy, how to recharge myself for the next session. It's 11 years of doing this where I've managed to
Longer time, yeah, a lot more.
हाँ,
Yeah.
and also I've also realized, I mean, now I'm very shrewd that if I have a client जिसके साथ नहीं जम रहा है, I'll just be like, sir, आप अपना time बर्बाद करो, मैं अपना time बर्बाद because I know for a fact that one client can just mess up your entire energy for the day. So I have, there's a lot of inner work I have also had to do to understand, and especially in the beginning years when financially you are very restricted. You kind of take any client that comes to you, which is the struggle for most coaches. So I also try to tell a lot of trainers that jitna jaldi ho sakta hai, financially build yourself up, create that pipeline because when your demand excels your supply, now you are in control. You decide how much you want to charge, you decide who you want to train. So that's where, of course, your brand building, the quality of work you're doing, the clients themselves that you're training, they also become your brand ambassadors. So all of that is very important. So instead of just blindly taking any client who comes to you, which is fine initially when you're just trying to build yourself up. But if you get those 1 or 2 good clients, give everything to them. And once you do that, and if they go out there saying, "Bhai, ye trainer aisa hai, vaisa hai," then you will just start getting those type of clients towards you. Because chances are that person has friends who think in a similar way, who have similar life goals. And if they find a trainer who is, kind of working well in that synergy, then more and more people will come. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right. So
Yeah, this for sure I would.
no, go on.
No, this yeah. So no, this I would surely second him on the selection aspect that he mentioned. I have in fact mentioned this category, like how important it is that we feed off each other's energy and we inspire each other. It's not just about It's like a like an instructional session where it's there's no conversation, it's just one-sided. So a lot of sessions, at least that way, the clients that he has given me, for example, I learn so much. I learn probably more than what I probably teaching them in a particular session sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So a cyclic learning environment can happen when you have similar minded people who are, feeding off each other's energies. So that way, I have had good synergy there with my clients. Yeah.
Very good point that sort of comes out of all of this is that, and also what I was trying to ask, and I was trying to figure out what your sort of criteria are, was basically that if everyone is your client, then no one's your client. Because end of the day, it's like, you're saying, okay, I'm just going to dole out just think of a general physician in your area, right? Who can you for all the small things that you may have, whether it's a runny nose, you've got a fever, slight fever, you've got a cough, you may have sore eyes, you hurt yourself a little bit, whatever it is, right? Small things, headaches. And then if you look at those people, they will literally be stuck because of the sheer number of people that come to them because you're serving everybody, right? Everyone's your client, everyone comes to you. And then you become a commodity. End of the day, you become someone, everybody just keeps asking you for a diet plan, for this, for that, whatever. And then, you're just stuck in that, trying to just service the sheer volume that you're getting. So, end of the day, if you know that you are setting up yourself and the client for success in that relationship, and that relationship on a professional level is purely to make sure that you can help that guy or girl get to their result, right? That's it. So it's important for you to, at some point, after a few years of experience, really know what you're good at, know what you love doing, know the kind of people you want to be working, and then it doesn't feel like work because you're already getting the clients, you're already giving them the results, you're doing that job every day, and then it's just growing, and that's about it. So clearly, you guys have found the sweet spot. Great, great, great. Cool. And just a lot of coaches would like to know, how do you guys actually get these celebrity clients? How do you actually train them? Is it very different from regular people? If you could tell the audience about this, please.
Do you want to share your experience?
When it comes to my personal experience of training them one-on-one, like I said, a few key pointers that come to my head is learning experience both ways. It's enjoyable. They are humans at the end of the day, like empathy, compassion, and every other aspect that you would showcase to any other person applies to them as well. Right. So in that way, they are no different. At least through my personal experience, what I have realized with this bunch of people who are already high achievers in their own businesses, in their own realms, is they have a very curious approach to life. And that curiosity keeps them hooked to, they are very quick learners as well, be it on the gym floor or generally picking up cues when it comes to knowing about things that they aren't aware of, right? Be it health and fitness or something else that you are aware of, right? Also very introspective by nature. So that way, there are a lot of pluses that makes it a very cyclic learning experience for both me and I'm hoping them as well. So yeah.
Are they more consistent and compliant with your program, workout, diet more than say general population, or are they also the kinds who like, I don't feel like doing this today, I messed up on the
I would say it takes for any person it takes
It's a mixed bag.
yeah.
It's honestly a mixed bag. There is a reason why I hate the term celebrity trainer, because in my experience of working with clients, there are a lot of general population people I work with who prioritize their fitness way more than many celebrity trainers, or many celebrities rather. Celebrities, one common trait I have noticed in them is, of course, given the nature of their work, they function well under pressure. So when there is a role coming up, when they need to look good, when the director says, hey, this body part needs to look this, that. So something that many of these guys go through is called a look test. When they get selected for a project, depending on the character they're playing, they'll be doing a look test. So look test may all the makeup artists, the stylists, they all come and they're trying different, hairstyles, this and that. So for example, there is one actor that I'm training and he had a look test yesterday. He's doing a project with Mr. Ramcharan. So he told me that, the director had a look, and of course, we've been taking a very generic approach to his training, just generally building him up and all of that. And then yesterday he comes and says, my rear delts are looking a little flat where I'm wearing a shirt. So यहाँ पे थोड़ा roundness आना है, and there'll be more of exposure here. So my forearms need to look a little more beefy than they are right now. And then he was like, ye part hai. So now he's giving me very specific feedback from the director directly. Ki what angles is the director going to shoot and which body parts need to shape up how. So now when he gives me that feedback, I'm like, "Theek hai." Now we work on those things. In fact, yesterday was supposed to be his second leg day of the week. And then I said, scrap it. We'll just do one leg day because he's going to be in a dhoti in this movie most of the
Right.
time.
Be seen, yeah.
So I said, we'll just now have like a separate arm session today and just really hit your forearms, your biceps, triceps a little well, and we'll add in a little bit of more of abs and all right now. These inputs, but again, the thing is, they come from a very superficial thing. कि role के लिए ready होना है. It's not like कि कोई बड़ा performance gain करना है या stage पे जाना है. But camera के सामने, what the director expects me to look like, I need to get into that character. For which, so it's a very work-oriented approach. This is what I need to do. This is how I'm going to get my paycheck. So get me in shape. I look good in the movie. I do my thing, and then I get my big fat paycheck. So that's how these guys generally function. But generally, the pattern I have noticed is that when there is that pressure of getting ready for a role is when they're super serious. But otherwise, the rebound also that these guys go through is crazy. Many of these young guys, irrespective of who they are, their rebound is very severe because now the audience demands so much from them. Like many of them right now, they don't have any serious project that requires a physical transformation. Training is just something they're doing just to be healthy. And it's not just a training session that they're concerned with. They really look forward to socializing with you. They look forward to just generally catching up, like just being a normal person because they can just be themselves with you. So those are the things that they look into. And they want to do more fun sort of training because it's not very performance oriented. So the training has to be somewhat entertaining. They expect a lot of flexibility in the diet. They don't want to be taking too many supplements, things like that. So that's the general attitude between projects. So in that sense, I would say that, they are like any other normal lifestyle client that we get. Nothing super indifferent about them. But yeah, when a project comes, they just zone it. And that's when they'll be like, "Aap jo bologe, main wahi karungi." Because I'm not going to, I need to get ready for that role.
And coming to your online coaching, since you also have a lot of online coaching clients, I know that both of you have also created your profiles on Alpha Coach, which is that fitness directory that we're launching soon. What do you think about, maximizing and just making sure that you're out there online in all the online platforms, right? What's your view on just being present, making sure that you're pushing up to your levels and growing this organically as a business?
So the first thing I'm going to say, something even which you asked a while ago, was how do you get clients, right? And this aspect of social media obviously plays a very big role. Again, going back when I started coaching clients, I got a sponsorship from Optimum Nutrition. And this is when I am just getting some word of mouth references in my community. So couple of college kids came to me and then some other people came to me. And then when I did the whole gig with New Life, I built a very good relationship with Optimum because On was one of their main brands that they were focusing on. So when I came out of New Life, On was very invested in continuing to work with me because I did a lot of war footing for them where I was traveling to different parts of the country, collecting data, everything. So they said, "Hey, you're a good resource and we would like to sort of retain you within the system in some way." But I said, "Look, my focus is coaching right now. Like sales is something I'm happy to do. But my focus in my own career is to, become a coach." So what happened is one of the first mandates that On gave me, and I was very thankful that the international team got in touch with me and they said, "You need to have a Facebook page," which I didn't have. And they said that your Facebook page should have at least 1,000 followers before we can even submit your profile to Glanbia to take you on board as an athlete because we are going to be listing you on the website. So suddenly having a social media presence became a mandate. But I didn't have any transformations to talk about then. I didn't have any story or anything. So what I started then as a trend, which I still do, is just talk about my own journey. Like, what am I training? What am I eating? Where am I holidaying? What am I driving? And that's it. Just keep that going. I made it a point to be consistent, like every day, or every other day posting something, engaging with my audience. I was very overwhelmed when people would message me. I realized much later people telling me that many people don't reply, but they'll always be shocked that I reply, I engage in conversation. So all that interaction and community building, I suddenly started seeing that I'm reaching out to a lot of people and a lot of people are reaching out to me from different parts of the country. So the social media aspect really started getting me more traction pan India within my own city, Bangalore. And then dhire dhire, the word spread. And I knew that if somebody comes and trains with me, to go from being a 5,000 rupees trainer to charging 15,000 to then charging 30,000. And towards the end, before I left Bangalore, I was charging anything between 50 to 70,000. And then finally COVID happened, whatever. But after I've come to Hyderabad, those numbers are, twice, thrice, or even 4 times in some cases. So sky is the limit in terms of what you can monetarily achieve. But then my, target was never that. If somebody asks me, what is your 5-year financial goal? I have no clue. But if you ask me, what is your future goal in terms of, work-wise, I really want to leave an impact on the industry in terms of the work I've done, the foundations I've laid, the number of people I have guided into this business. Those are the things that I really look up to. So for me, personally speaking, your commitment towards your social media has to be a mandate. It's something you have to do. It's not like मेरे से नहीं होता है, अरे तेरे से जो होता है तो कर, because your audience will find you. Like, look at Sam Sulek. He's a very good example of somebody who is raw, who is honest. Like, people critique his workout form, he doesn't care. People critique his style of recording, he doesn't care. In fact, now whatever he does is trending because Sam Sulek does it, right? And it's not that he's wearing the most branded clothes, whatever it is, but the guy is making shit ton of money. So the audience is so wide that if you just keep deliberating, कि मेरा audience कौन है, मेरे videos कौन like करेगा. And again, this is something I even tell Supriya and many others, that the number of quality likes that you get on your profile versus the number of, the quantity likes, there's a big difference. For us as a business, we care about how many clients we get through our social media, not how many hits we get. Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. So even if you get 10 likes on a post, but so 10 में से अगर एक भी convert होता है, you've got a 10% hit rate, right? You've got a 10% hit rate on your social media, as opposed to somebody who's a very high achieving bodybuilder, probably gets 1 lakh likes for all I know. But how many people in that are going to think इसको मुझे hire करना है as a coach? So
True.
So if your focus point is like, this is something I tell a lot of brands when they collaborate with me. My full-time gig is coaching. I'm not a content creator. I create content to market my business, which is full-time coaching. But I am not creating content for a living. So that distinction is very clear. So I don't really care how many likes I get. But I do know that randomly some dude messages me, भाई आपसे ट्रेनिंग लेनी है, मैं हैदराबाद में रहता हूँ, मिल सकते हैं. And I go meet them and I tell them my fees is like 1.5 and they're like, okay, it's done. Yeah, तो खत्म भाई. कितने लोगों को ट्रेनिंग दे सकता हूँ मैं? How many people can she train or anybody in my team can? But of course, how much we are amassing as a whole in terms of the numbers we do and all of that, that's what matters to us. What do we take home? What is the quality of life and livelihood that we have? But a lot of people get stuck on those things that, अरे मेरे post पे उतने like नहीं आ रहे हैं. I have to now get a fancy editor. I have to get a videographer.
Yeah, they
Don't get
enamored or start feeling left out, thinking, oh my God, his reels look so good, or her social media is so glamorous, this thing. But the main thing is, like you said, you're not a content creator. You're not a creator, you're a coach. You're not an entertainer, you're an expert. And you are not trying to just go for the North Star metrics, which are like followers and likes. Although you both have a significant amount of followers, right? I think 55, 68, 70,000 a month. So he must be 1.2.
Yes, her social media is quite on fire. I mean, obviously,
Right?
she's the hot one. So yeah, obviously.
So because that obviously helps your funnel, right? But the thing is, at the end of the day, you have to be able to have something online, even if it's 300 followers, even if it's 500, because for them, imagine a person with just 500 followers. Even if you take 200 out who are friends and family, the other 300 follow them because they're a coach. And then those 300 if you convert 5-7%, that's five, whatever, 20, 10, 15, coaches or whatever that is there, right? And that can be a good number for them to start off with. But they just don't know where to start. They don't want to start. They're like, mujhse social media nahi hota hai. I don't put myself out there. And I'm like, guys, if you want to buy a mobile phone, forget a mobile phone. Even if you want to buy a mobile phone cover, तो भी तुम जाके एक बार Amazon पे, even if your friend or next door neighbor has a shop right down, just because of the laziness, we're so tuned to just saying, okay, let's check it out online. If you see a guy online or a trainer, and all they're doing is posting their own lifts, they're not talking about their clients, they're not talking about what they do. It's some random stuff that they post, and then they expect, oh, why am I not getting any leads from social media? So it's so important.
No, let me tell you, that will also give you. Because you're leading my example for so many. Almost 80% of my content is that.
100%. But that is for...
I'm posting consistently because people are like consistent. ये खरीदता है, ये दिखता है ऐसा है, कुछ तो सही कर रहा होगा. Oh, this is actually what you do for a living. So it's still a surprise for them because I still blog like a lifestyle blogger, right? Because for me, it is more about getting the content out there than to sit and think, अच्छा आज मैं ये 4 पेज का कैप्शन लिखूंगा और ऐसा वीडियो होगा और ऐसा एडिट होगा. नहीं है मेरे पास टाइम, बट कुछ पोस्ट करना है, कर दो. Something you feel, something about just posted, and the messaging will go. Because if you look the part, if you talk like a professional, if you seem like somebody who's knowledgeable, the audience knows how to filter it all out and just reach out to you and have a conversation and be like, whether they are in doubt or not, whether you're a coach or not is irrelevant. Just the fact that you are standing out, they might just reach out to you and have a conversation. And then it's all about how you engage with them and convert it. Right. So at least put something out there. But you can't be like, but it is a mandate. You have to, especially if you're in a service business like this. People are marketing phone cases. People are marketing cat litter. People are marketing every random thing that they're making, because they're like, if we don't talk about it, to janta ko pata kaise chalega? And here you are saying, I'm a full-time coach and I can't, market myself and put content out there. And then you're not meant for this business. The first thing, anytime I refer anybody is, okay, send me his Instagram account or send me his LinkedIn account. And if you have nothing to show for them, kya bataunga main unko? I can't convince them. So, yeah, so that has been a huge learning for me also in terms of, building a team, that I would rather get these guys who I consider are as good of a brand as I am, if not better. But I know financially I can help them grow more, which is probably where they are lacking. So that's where I come in, because I have that network. And so it allows me to capture more clients in my umbrella, and they have, bigger success stories to talk about.
Nice. Super. And one thing about, where do you see the industry actually going, right? Both of you, whoever wants to answer. Online coaching obviously has now come about a big way in the last 3-4 years. Fitness is now seeing there's a lot of AI-driven apps that are coming in. How are you preparing for these next set of changes that may be coming along?
Specific to me, it is still humans that you're dealing with, and that human intervention will always be required. So I truly believe that AI coming in will only enhance, probably help us, but when it comes to one-to-one or even one-to-many, even online for that matter, at the end of the day, we are all social animals. We are looking for that social connect. We are looking for that bond. We are, at the end of the day, trying to, help another human. That human connect, which is irreplaceable. I don't think AI and all that will help. Maybe with the reach and all these other aspects. But falling back on that human connect is something basic that all of us look for. Be it the empathy factor, be it the compassion, be it the accountability, all these aspects which are very crucial to all our journeys. Only another human with actual emotions can probably understand and therefore help. So
I think
that is
a lot to do with them empathizing with the person, really customizing it with emotion, with making sure that they
the emotion quotient, the emotion quotient actually, which we don't realize is a very large part of the pie. We can't just treat it as just black and white, right? The gray element in this industry is very large, and that is when the emotional quotient, even coaches for that matter, right? The reason why a coach is a coach is because of a higher EQ as well, right? Otherwise, how will you pick up on those nuances, let alone empathize or let alone find a solution to those problems? You have to be, a little different from, let's say, a coder who has a different skill set that he or she uses, right? But a coach intrinsically requires a certain different set of capabilities in a human.
Yeah.
And that is irreplaceable.
For example, I got a lot of information from both of you guys before the
Mhm.
call. I used AI to create a damn cool intro. And I said,
Mhm.
okay, all that's done now, let me word it in my own this thing. So I got a structure,
Yes.
I got this thing, and it was done in seconds. If I
Yes.
down and
Yes.
actually make sense of, the bullet points both of you gave me and then create
Yes.
this thing, it would take
Yeah.
an hour. So
Yeah.
it'll,
So it optimized your productivity.
AI won't replace humans, but AI will definitely, or rather humans who know how to use AI will
Yeah.
replace humans who do not know how to use AI.
Know how to.
Big.
Yes. Yeah.
Just to the very last segment, as with all the popular talk shows where they have a couple of this thing, I just quick rapid fire round for the two of you. Okay.
Okay.
So just say whatever first comes to mind. There are five very simple questions. And which amongst you is more disciplined? Supriya. Okay, great. Who's the better trainer? Not programming, but trainer in the gym, like in person.
Was always.
Uh,
Definitely. Yeah.
who gets the most compliments from clients?
That's Supriya.
Who's gonna say Supriya for sure? Okay. Who's more likely to skip leg day?
Who's more likely?
To skip
like
leg
this?
day.
Neither.
Neither.
And who's the big boss at home? We have we have
I'll
to
take
say
the
her.
same answer.
You got stay married also. Awesome, awesome. Super.
I
So
was just hurt to see whether she only says, yeah, I am. She tried to be all humble and all. So
My way or the highway at home.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys. So this was very, very interesting. Thanks a lot. We've spent a lot of time talking with each other. Any closing advice that you guys would like to give to new fitness coaches? Something maybe, somebody had told you while starting off, right? Now, of course, Supriya, you had Arun, so you are considered privileged.
Yeah.
You have somebody
Yeah.
already at home who's been there, done that. But Arun,
Yeah.
what would that one piece of advice that you would give to new fitness coaches or anybody even looking to get into the industry?
be fearless. That's all I'll say. Because there is nothing that you can do, at least in the first 5 years of your career. Doesn't matter what point you're starting. Even if you're 50 years old and if you decide you want to be a trainer because that's just a time pass thing for you, even then I would say for the first 4 5 years, just be fearless. Do your thing. Do your whatever it is that you like to do in terms of fitness, whether it's a particular type of training, nutrition, gym owner, supplements, whatever it is, whatever you feel very strongly about, fearlessly do it. Don't let market demand and what is trending and all those dynamics drive it for you. Let it be a very simple conversation between your mind and the heart, and that this is what I like, and this is what I think I'm good at, and this is what I want to teach others. And even if there is one person in a room of 1,000 people who raises their hands and says that, hey, kya mujhe sikha sakte ho? Start from there. And believe me, it's a butterfly effect from there onwards. It makes your life easier because if there are fewer people who like what you are ready to offer, then it's lesser stress for you to, give them that individual attention initially. And that's something we also spoke about on this podcast, right? That, if you think you're going to train everybody, then you can't train anybody, right? But if you feel that you have something very strong to offer to the audience, because many times when coaches are starting, many of them talk to me, where do you think I should start? I said, I don't know. It's up to you. What do you feel strongly about? Right. I started out as actually a nutritionist. I'd even rented an office and everything. And then people would look at me and be like, do you also train? And I was like, nay, I don't train people. I just train myself. They're like, theek hai na, it's okay. We'll take a chance. That was their willingness to take a leap of faith with me. They were like, ऐसा दिखता है तो उसको कुछ तो पता होगा. बात ढंग से डाइट अच्छे से बना के दे रहा है इतना कुछ तो कर लेते हैं. And then next thing I know that, hey, I'm not a bad trainer either. But honestly, like I've had the privilege of a common friend that we've had that I've had the chance to work with, and many other trainers. And I would say they are far better trainers than I am. But I think the last 4, 5 years, especially the amount of effort and time I've invested in being more of a people person, understanding what is it that my clients struggle with. Because for me, the training, the diet is just a means to an end. But really understanding where they're stuck, giving them those solutions, and leading by example. So you don't know where things are going to go for you. Just keep saying what you believe in, fearlessly, and success will find you. But don't chase that success. If you do that, then it's never going to happen.
Super. So be fearless, guys. Be fearless. That's the mantra that Arun and Supriya, giving you for getting into the business or growing. Thank you so much. Infectious energy. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for answering in so much detail, explaining your point of view, giving your history and everything. And for anybody listening to this podcast, where can they find you individually and together? What are your Instagram handles?
Mine is Supriya P13.
Okay.
My Instagram handle is Supriya P1313. And
Okay.
My Instagram ID is arun.bbfitness. That's B for Bombay and B for Baroda. BB.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks again for sharing your journey, tips, and plenty of laughs. Until next time, keep lifting and keep inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you so
Have a
much.
good time.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody, for tuning in. Bye-bye.